Okay. I wanted to pause the recording. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the launch of After the Rites and Sandwiches by Kathy Pimlott. I'm Emma Wright, publisher at the Emma Press, and this is Kathy Pimlott, our wonderful poet. And we're both so happy to be here today to launch this book. And I'm very excited to hear Kathy reading these wonderful poems. So the way this is going to work, this is going to be a sort of classic poetry reading. I'm going to say a bit about the book and how we acquired it. And then Kathy's going to read a chunk of poems, about 15 minutes. And then we'll round off just by talking a little bit about what Kathy's up to next. I think, yeah, so we're not going to do so much for Q&A. If you do have questions, I guess feel free to put them in the Q&A. And if Kathy would like to answer them, she can. I guess we'll do it like that. But if you don't want to answer them, it's okay, we might not get around to it because it's all about the poems. So I want to say, so this is Kathy's third pamphlet with the Emma Press. She also has a full-length collection with Verve Poetry Press, The Small Manoeuvres, in 2022. But from the Emma Press. The first pamphlet was Goose Fair Nights in 2016, which was actually launched at the same time as James Trevelyan's pamphlet. So James is the director at the Emma Press. And yeah, he was my maternity cover, he's director, and he's also was originally an Emma Press poet. He had Dissolved to LA, a great pamphlet of poems about action movies. And we had a really great party in Covent Garden. I was trying to find the photos, but I think they're on my old computer. So yeah, well, the Emma Press started in essentially 2013. So Kathy was one of the sort of earlier poets. And then we had her second pamphlet, Elastic Glue, in 2019. And that was 2024, the third pamphlet. I think you can tell from the fact, third pamphlet, that at the Emma Press we are big fans of Kathy's writing. And I would go so far to say, I think Kathy is maybe if not the quintessential Emma Press poet. I think there's something about Kathy's writing which really resonates with what me and Rachel Piercy were looking for early on when we were setting up the Emma Press and when we were thinking about, well, what we wanted to publish. And that's kind of, that's stayed true. Like we've stayed true to that. So we publish a wide range of things, some like very experimental, some, I don't know, I sort of picture poetry visually. So the way it sits on the page, some of it's like this, some of it's like this. And I think something like Kathy's work is the through line. And so I'm really happy that Kathy wanted to be published by us again. And I wrote down some words. I think her writing is so crafted and accomplished, and also so readable, arresting, often funny and wise. I think, yeah, I didn't want to sort of wing it, but the specific thing I wanted to say is that her writing is so good, so well done, but it's kind of sort of easy to read. I find it sort of, it is very readable, but there's so much you can sit with a line for a long time. I'm often like lines often pop into my head of Kathy's writing. I think that's a real really amazing skill to have. And I wrote down, this is what a note from James actually when he first read Kathy's poems in this book, which was, this pretty much broke me. Very accurate, truthful, and beautiful experience of sudden loss. Very impressive. So that was the Emma Press team's initial reaction. So before I hand over to Kathy, I thought I would just read out the blurbs to give you some bits of context. And before I forget, shout out to Mark Andrew Webber, my old friend from Reading, who did this wonderful cover. He does lino cuts. He did this very, very beautiful lino cut of an Alice in Wonderland mug. And okay, so the blurb. So Centred on a sudden accidental death, its shocking actuality, the aftermath, the admin, Kathy Pimlott's third pamphlet is an honest, lyrical, and nuanced journey through the complexity of bereavement. As the world around her continues on, moths remain attracted to lights, Christmas comes and goes. Pimlott lives with the irreplaceable absence that follows the loss of a partner. Amid the pain and emotion is a streak of wry humour at the mundanity of settling affairs and powerfully personal trajectory of moving through grief rather than moving on. And yeah, so I think, so it's okay, I'll hand over to you, Kathy. And I'm going to do share screen as well, but I'll let me know when to stop sharing screen and then I'll sort of disappear.
Okay. And will you operate the?
Yeah, just say anything and I'll scroll. Okay. I'm going to share the InDesign.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Emma. That's really kind. I'm always think of Emma Press with being part of a family, but mostly because I can remember so vividly when they accepted my first pamphlet, Goose Fair Night, and I was on my own at home. And I got nobody to tell, and I was just running around the sitting room on my own, so excited about it. So when I was thinking what I was going to do with these poems that came over a period of about 2 years, I wasn't sure whether I would wait until they were a collection, but that seemed like it might take a very long time. And so I sent them to Emma Press, saying, I'm not really submitting these. I just thought you might like to see them. And I think they're too dark for you. And then, they accepted them. So that was a big thrill. So I think we'll just go ahead and read. I'm going to read from the screen. So I do need it to move up and down. And please be aware, I'm not wanting to break you at all. So I'm not going to read all of the poems. I'm just going to read some of them.
So just wanted to show you the cover again. And I'm going to mute myself.
Right. That's too small for me to read from, so.
Sorry. I'm going to make it bigger.
I've got the book here, so I can do it. So this first one is How to Be a Widow.
Is that better? Sorry.
Yes, that's lovely. Thank you.
Okay.
How to Be a Widow. I do 2 of the just one things the radio doctor promises will make a difference. Drink water and balance on one leg with my eyes closed. I've written my menu for the week. Today's chowder. I managed 10 pieces of the 1,000-piece jigsaw scenes from Jane Austen. Tomorrow I'll visit friends and say, it's all right, really, it's all right. 70, 80% all right. Their condolences in quote marks, sad loss, tragic accident, little pegs, pinning, the laundered fact to the line, blood-streaked, mucousy froth washed out. Because who wants to talk about death? No one. Not while the world's burning. Him as lost glacier, landscape cracked into vast spaces, the loss of all my excuses. I was on the phone, then peeling potatoes, then scrubbing a tea-stained mug, and then he was dead. Who wants to hear about the colours? Normal, then purple, then grey in a moment like the sea changing as light shifts with the clouds. No one. Colonies are collapsing. Children have taken to the streets with semi-automatic guns. Words no longer hold. And I've been picked up and dropped into a foreign land in which everywhere looks the same. What I said to the 2 policewomen, do you want tea? Someone radios someone, someone calls them back. Someone has found a wad of new banknotes on our street. What I said to the paramedic, yes, I moved his legs. No beat as we took turns to try to bring him back, husband, dad. We stand and sit in our kitchen, open windows flooded with noise, people at pub tables drinking, losing cash. At moments I feel I might step over him at the foot of the stairs, run up Tottenham Court Road, along Euston Road into the park. It gets dark. All we want to do is lie down or scream. But we make conversation with the officers from 6 until 11. Say, it's odd he didn't swear as he fell, being very sweary. We stand and sit in the kitchen, wait for it to be otherwise. It isn't. The mug with the tea stains was that one on which Alice tucks a flamingo under her arm, gets on with the match.
Kathy, I'm just gonna swap the thing I'm sharing because I feel like I didn't do it in the right way.
Okay. I've got the book with me, but I've forgotten what order we were going to do things.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. Let's do it this way.
Thank you.
So next page. Next. Is that big enough, or is it?
Yes, that's
bigger?
fine. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is a poem that the title of the pamphlet is taken from, as you can see, and it references a poem of Robert Graves called Flying Crooked, which is the poem I read at Robert's funeral. I very outmoded Robert Graves, and people think he's very old-fashioned, but I love him very much. After the rites and sandwiches. We haven't yet drawn the heavy curtains on the navy sky. A window is open to let night air into the flickering room where, unusually gathered, we sit distracted by television from the churn of ifs and whys. A moth flies in, an ordinary moth, attracted to the lamp. It zigzags round the room. The flying crooked of the poem I've just read at your funeral, the one I told you I would read that time we saw swifts at the old reservoir. Infected by its madcap flapping, we flap, attempt to guide it back out. Despite us, it finds its way into the lamp's bowl, where from underneath, I see how, in the heat, its trembling wings begin to flake away until it stills, its outline a motif etched into the glass. Some might say it's you, restless, returned, not as Graves' cabbage white, but as another flitting thing. I don't, though just now, even a flimsy moth is weighty. Trying to settle into thoughtless torpor, I can't help but feel the blame. So, interior decor. I bought that turquoise throw to liven up the room. They used it to cover you, make things almost normal, as though you might have lain down naked on your back on the drafty hall floor and needed its little warmth, its modesty. Everyone has at least one beautiful part which stays beautiful, even when the rest of them falls to ruin. For you, for me, it was your hands. Before they called time, they asked if we'd like to say goodbye, and though we knew you'd been gone from the start, we left the airlock of the kitchen, wife, daughter, to kneel one each side and weep over your hands like a Renaissance lamentation. I think what we want of love is to be made beautiful. Your almost green eyes, ridiculously dainty earlobes, that muscle V to groin. First sight? I don't recall. But the easy way you lifted unloved children in the home and swung them up until they screamed and begged to be put down, then begged you to do it again, made you seem like someone I could make a life, make loved children with. There was no blood on the throw. So I folded it, replaced it on the couch. When I get cold these evenings, I may lay my hand where it rests, but I wrap the yellow rug round my legs as I watch a flickering world, paint portraits, garden, choose wedding frocks, despite it all. There's a lot, the word flickering appears several times in this small collection. I think it's either I watch too much telly or I need to get a new telly. It's very, it's obviously a very dominant thing for me. Okay, so Stuffed Monkey. I'm very pleased with this poem, Stuffed Monkey. I had a very, very nice review from Nell Nelson, where she actually went and made a stuffed monkey. So I was very pleased with that. Stuffed Monkey from Jane Grigson's English Food. It's impossible to foretell what will provoke tears, the sort that well up and tip over while you hold onto the kitchen sink, waiting for them to subside. It could be a bunch of keys, so many of them mysterious from down the years, or clippings in a wallet, its leather soft shaped to a back pocket. Or this cookbook, English Food, sellotaped, cover missing, pages stained, translucent with greasy butter prints, the voice instructive, calm. Tucked in, there's a scrap scrawled with a list of ingredients for just the filling of a classic lemon tart. He didn't need instructions for its pâté sablé case, having mastered pastry, sweet crust, short crust, rough puff choux, all the many variations. And here, Stuffed Monkey, which no one has ever had before he made it, shiny with egg white glaze, round, heavy and dark from brown sugar and cinnamon. So plain to look at, so dense, delicious and unknown. Now I follow the steps, the book propped open, method a bit vague, and I'm crying. I could say widowhood, regret, could say it's just a layer of peel and ground almonds between two discs of something like a pastry dough. Jane says to make the dough as if you are making pastry. I think she means rubbing in with fingertips, bringing together. I could say, as if I'm so suddenly, so specifically lonely. Baked and cooled, the stuffed monkey sits in the shallow tin which held our Christmas biscuits, stolid, a good traveller, waiting to be taken somewhere, sure of a welcome. If you can come to my in-person launch, I shall be making Stuffed Monkey for your delectation. Right, next one. Right. So hang on a minute, sorry, I just got to close that so I can see it. What I do with you now you're dead. The Queen is dead too, and on her way to a proper tomb. Everything's shut and there's nothing on TV, but the sun comes out. So I go to the mimosa tree where, months ago, I dumped, in a laughing panic, dumped about a quarter of your ashes and ran away. The illicit thrill, exactly what you would have wanted. Today, with a flask, shortbread, I've come because while I don't love the Queen, it seems like a fitting thing to do. This royal park is empty, quiet, allowing me to cry all through its splendid long borders with their harmonious purple and blue planting until, on a near enough bench, I sit. By my feet, lamb's ears offer silky comfort, as does the pile of pistachio shells, little coracles showing someone sat here eating a bagful. You kept your shells in the pockets of your gardening coat, which I emptied out before taking it to the charity shop with your best shoes. The mimosa's not out, of course, but its ferny leaves show promise of the glory to come. A robin perches closer than he should, inspects me, then accepts a crumb or two. Your ashes have disappeared, no longer so alarmingly burnt bone visible, so very there. They say the old Queen's coffin is oak lined with lead. 3/4 of you is still in the back of the wardrobe. A crow chases off my robin. So much peril. It's enough to be sitting, thumbing lamb's ears, thinking about you. Thank you. This is set on the Rain and Marsh's bird and RSPCA bird sanctuary. A wonderful place, which I understand has lost some of its funding, but I hope not. I hope they managed to keep it going because it is beautiful. The sort of thing we did together of a Sunday. It's a perfect day for raptors on the marshes, heat rising, oceans of sky. The reeds sport seed tassels, copper and pink, susurrate, concealing warblers and bunting, those small birds we don't really know. But we do know raptors, sparrowhawk, peregrine, kestrel, and the big one, marsh harrier, their command. I look so hard, so long, all I can see are floaters like pollywogs in the ditches where piles of fat frogs sunbathe, their tremendous thighs beautifully hinged, while the boatmen cast shadows and ripples which belie their weightlessness. All that's missing, dragonflies or azure damselflies can join, fly or quiver coupled. All that's missing is the endless hiss of cicadas, and it could be the Camargue, if you keep your eyes away from the horizon's high-speed line and the Dartford crossing. There are worse places to be on this hot, blue sky day than opposite Erith, where the sails of dinghies lend a glamour. 5 seals bask on the far bank by an outlet creek. Seals, not rubbish sacks as we'd first thought. The old army shooting range's metal numbers endure, like Hollywood, a bit battered, but only 4 is missing. A board says this is where raptors perch when resting, cast their unearthly sight over yellow anthills, boardwalks, the hides, flapped windows, rushes and willow. What are we doing here beyond our freedom pass limit? Sunday walking, far enough, on the flat, somewhere there's more sky than anything, somewhere big enough to contain all we won't bring up to spoil our lovely day. Right. This one is about a visit from my friend Paul Stevenson, who has himself written a wonderful book about the death of a partner. It's a collection with Carcanet called Hard Drive. It's a bit odd when I belong to a group that Paul convenes. We meet on some Saturdays, and it's very odd when there's 2 of you writing about the same subject, really. But it's not a competition, it's different. He writes differently from me. The passing visit. A friend came by from Brussels and we talked of our dead, or rather about what they leave behind, the stuff in storage, the binding strands. I told him more than I told most of how, and I said then rejected the word tumultuous, how textured our long, long marriage had been. And by textured, I meant bumpy, drop stitches, amateur darning. I told him how often you fell in and out of love, and how I left and returned more than once. But perhaps because I didn't care enough, I said. And perhaps I didn't. There was something he wasn't telling me, but the sun was out and we walked the courtyards and backways of the neighbourhood, crossed the bridge, watching the sky whiten and the coloured lamps in the trees come on. We spoke of cities, their pleasures, the comfort I find in the river, how Brussels Seine is covered over, subterranean, of moving along and clearing out. Right.
Do you want to read the final one, Kathy, or do you?
Do you read the final one? Yeah, it's a bit more upbeat.
Okay.
Coda, tips on avoiding the offered consolations of religion and therapy. If it's religion, it'll spot you even when you're crouched low behind the credenza. Better throw open the door, all breezy, and announce, "We're Zoroastrians here. Welcome to the fire temple." And while religion fumbles for its specs to Google, you can shimmy sleekly past. Go jog. Therapy requires acuter acting skills. Better pretend you're a dog, a Dalmatian, the least intellectual. And therapy, all kinds, will be compelled to fulfill its cracker joke fate and order you down off the couch, whereupon you can tail knock the vase of iris off the table, then lope away, one ear rakishly inside out. Thank you. Thanks, Emma. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. I hope it wasn't distracting, but there's been lots of hearts and applauses coming up in the Zoom reactions.
Confetti.
Very pretty. That was great read them. I really like spending time with your writing. That's partly why I like doing typesetting. So you have to look very carefully, but also it was nice. I should probably do screen share more because it's nice to be able to read along. Thank you everyone for your lovely comments as well. I'll be sure to send them on to Kathy afterwards. While I remember, I'm going to paste in the link to the where you can buy Kathy's book if you don't have it already. This is on the Emma Press website, but also you could also demand a bookshop stocks it. So that would also be great. Oh goodness, so many nice comments.
Go in and demand it.
Yeah, I don't know, is that how it works? Some people, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. You've been to the LRB, right?
I went to the LRB and said to John Clegg, you're published by Emma Press. Why are you not stocking Emma Press books? And he did.
So I found out a thing just now. So I'll ask you, Kathy, what are you working on now?
Well, the most exciting thing for me that I'm working on or will be working on come Monday is I am very pleased to be one of the co-editors of the summer edition of Magma magazine. And it's Paul Stevenson, who is the board. It always has one board member and they invite other people to work with them. So it's me and somebody I don't know. And I'm really looking forward to meeting Dane Jobin. I've not heard his name said out loud, so I don't know. And yes, so the submission window opened on the 1st of November and will close at the end of November. And the theme is ownership, but it's very broad interpretations. So I've already got like 10 million emails with from Submittable. It's very interesting seeing the other end of Submittable, seeing the back end of it, where when you're so used to submitting through it yourself as a poet yourself. So I look forward to all of you poets out there sending in your work. Please not right at the very end. Do it now.
There's no point in saying that, Kathy. Everyone will send it at the end. That's how it's like in our submissions windows, to say you and everything.
Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. And I think that will take, Paul said the last time he did it, it really almost took a year of his time doing it. It took, over a year. So I don't think that's going to happen. And in terms of my own writing, I don't know. I'm just sort of feeling around at the moment. Age calls to me. Maybe it's that. I don't know. I'm going on a writing week up in above Scarborough with the Poetry Business with Anne and Peter Sansom at the beginning of December. So I'm hoping that's going to show me something that so I know where I'm going next. But I never do know. I don't really know what I'm doing at all. I didn't really think when I started writing the poems that make up this pamphlet, that I was going to end up writing so many of them. I thought it would stop, but it didn't. And there are still more that come, but I think, you know, you have to try and find a way forward. Yeah, with writing about something else. So I'm hoping that's what will happen.
Oh, Peter Sampson has a lovely quote at the back of your pamphlet.
So kind,
well.
yeah, really kind. Yeah.
Along with Jackie Safford's one.
Yeah. And so my my in-person launch is in Covent Garden, where I live. I'm not in Covent Garden at the moment, I'm in Nottingham. I'm in my sister's house, which is considerably smarter than my house. And it's on the Saturday, the 23rd, I think it's the 23rd of this month at 4 o'clock in the Phoenix Community Garden, which you can look up online, and everybody is very welcome. And there will be cake. That's what I will be spending the week before doing, making cake.
I'll just find a link. The Phoenix Community Garden. That sounds like a lovely venue.
It is a lovely venue. It is a garden, but it also has a room.
Okay, I was going to say.
You can be inside, not getting rained on. When I did my collection launch there, and it beat it down with rain the entire time. So, but you're in the garden room, so you can look out at the garden. So it's very. So that's in Covent Garden. That's in Covent Garden. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sure lots of people here, like, although
anybody who's in London,
scattered around. But
anybody's in London, you've got no excuse. Saturday afternoon, what are you doing? Go and do your shopping and then come and have some cake.
And the stuffed monkey, which no one's ever had.
No one's ever had.
Got to try it.
But actually, it's not true, because Robert used to make it for me going to poetry things. So quite a few poetry people have. But it's a weird cake. It's a very nice weird cake.
Yeah, I can picture it, but I can't imagine what it would be like to eat. But well, that's the point. Like, got to try and make it as well. And yeah, there was a lovely review from Nell Nelson.
Yeah.
Here in the Friday poem, and yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, thank you, Kathy, for reading your poems. It was lovely hearing them. Well,
and thank you, Emma, for publishing them.
Thank you for sending them in, Kathy. It's always a pleasure to work with you.
It's a great honour.
Yeah, well, it's an honour to have you on our list, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what you do next. And I'm excited you have the power of the Magma editorship. Always happy when people I know acquire power. And good luck anyone who's sending in poems.
Good luck. Send them in. And thank you very much for coming, everybody. It's really kind.
Thank you. We had so many people. I think at one point we had nearly 50, which is, I mean, sort of, yeah, very high numbers, very exciting. But of course for Kathy.
Well, when you get old, you see, the older you are, the more friends you grew across the years. So that's the good thing. It's a good thing.
Lots of lovely friends here. I'll say goodbye now, and I'm going to send on all your lovely comments to Kathy. And do buy the book if you don't have it already. And yeah, hopefully see you. Well, the next launches will be next year. So, next year there'll be the first launch will be Rachel Spence, who I believe is in the audience.
Oh, excellent.
Of the Sun. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, lots of time. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.